You know, sometimes people get sick. My clients will get sick and they don't take it when they're sick or when they had COVID or they had a surgery. And they don't tell us about that, but they tell us after the fact. And so I think there's a huge misconception, which is I should only be taking testosterone when I'm working out to take advantage of the gym. And so, you know, maybe you can elaborate on it's the exact wrong thought process, right?
Yeah, again, compare it to when you were 19, 20 years old. You had high testosterone levels. If you worked out or not, you had those levels. If you had surgery or if you were sick or not, you had those levels just to feel well, to be healthy. So why would you stop having those levels if you don't work out? It's not necessary to work out because, as we just said, testosterone has all those other benefits for mental clarity, for libido, for energy, for endurance. So yeah, if you don't want to build muscle, well, then you don't do resistance training. But if you do, it's even healthier because that extra muscle mass is anti-inflammatory, it burns the calories and so on. But if you don't want to do that, well, then you don't. But there's actually, when you get on TRT, it's for life. There's no reason to get back to the old state of feeling miserable. Once you realize the benefits, you will not be wanting to get back.
Yeah, it's 100%, right? It's there's a great book by Abraham Morgenthaler. It's called Testosterone for Life, and it's sort of a philosophy. And I try to communicate that, and I try to tell people, look, at 50 years old, or I'm 52 now, if I went off testosterone, my body didn't magically repair itself, and all of a sudden I'm going to have elite level testosterone. It's going to decline over time. I have a really interesting, I listened to a good audiobook by, you should listen to it, is by Tony Robbins. It's called Life Force. He talked about our average lifespan. Our average lifespan used to be about 40 years in 1850, so about 160 years ago. So if you think about the history of man, we used to be clans, all of us, and tribes, that we would hit our peak athletic years, or peak, you know, the leader of the tribe at 29 to 30, and then we would slowly fade away to 40, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I view it this way. It takes about 22, you know, about 22, 23, we fully mature. Then our hormone levels are really good for about 6 years. And then now we live to 90, so we got 60 years of slowly declining 10 to 20% per decade, a slow, gradual downhill plunge into being unhealthy again and having low energy. So we weren't designed to live this long, and I think that's a really very strong reason to augment and to do the therapy, obviously, that we do.
Yeah, and next to all the environmental toxins, of course, that we are now exposed to, like the endocrine disrupting chemicals, plastics, all these ingredients and cosmetics and so on, all those chemicals weren't there 100 years ago. So this also contributes, I guess, to the lower testosterone levels we get the older we are.
It's true. I always tell people, because I'm a huge advocate for not using plastic to store food in. I have only glass bowls. I always tell clients that, hey, have you ever heated up spaghetti in a plastic dish? Yes. Okay, the orange tint, it's always baked into the dish. It's not one-way transfer.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like if orange is going in, plastic is coming out. So you're basically superheating plastic and eating it. And then I also say about bottled water, they don't have, we live in Florida, very hot, right? They don't have air-conditioned warehouses full of water. Those water pallets sit outside, you know, baking at 130, 140 degrees. I don't think that that's so healthy to have water in plastic sitting on, you know, asphalt for months and months being superheated, you know. So I think, and we talked a little bit about before the call about farming. They're not doing crop rotation anymore. They're using all of these fertilizers, all of these pesticides. I believe that our vegetables and fruits don't have the micronutrients that they used to have as well. We're fighting against that.
Yeah, that's also a reason why we need more supplements along with our TRT, like selenium and zinc and other things that are not in the bottom and the food and in the vegetables anymore.
Exactly. Zinc, magnesium, selenium, iodine,
Yeah.
boron. We use boron quite a bit for the reduction in SHBG to try to increase a little bit of the free testosterone. And we probably used to get a lot of these micronutrients through the food that we ate, and that's just no longer happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah. By the way, our question about Europe and fruits. I watched a lecture from someone who focused on obesity in females and menopause, and she was talking about fruit sizes. Now, we all used to be taught like, hey, have 1 or 2 fruit servings per day, which is probably healthy if you have one. I'm not a huge fruit fan. I'd rather have vegetables, but she brought up the fact that everything has been genetically engineered, so a lot of fruits are at least 2 times bigger, at least in the States, right?
Yeah.
And so we all sort of knew that that was happening, but she also brought up that they've all been also genetically engineered to be sweeter and to have higher sugar content. So she said that, you know, the average fruit might have 4 times more sugar, like the average apple today in America may have 4 times more sugar than it had 30 years ago. Do you guys have this also in Europe where the fruit sizes have gotten bigger and bigger and sweeter, or is it a little bit more controlled?
I think it's more controlled. There's not so much bioengineering going on here as it is in the United States, I guess. Because a niece of my wife, she has a fruit and vegetable farm, and no, they're doing a lot of healthy stuff still. It's not bioengineered. And I haven't noticed getting the fruit bigger in the 40, 50 years that I live, no.
You should see in America. The strawberries, you know, when we used to have a strawberry farms that we could go pick strawberries. Strawberries were very small when we were younger. Now, I mean, some of them are almost the size of at least of a child's fist.
Yeah, well, the people in the United States have the size of an elephant as well nowadays. So
it's very crazy, you know. With with the over politicization of everything and political correctness here, a lot of doctors are can't even have real honest conversations with people about obesity. You know, we've went from about seven. In fact, they're almost taught or told not to use the terminology obesity. And so then we have our doctors that cannot even have honest conversations with their patients in the ER and every aspect of life because of politics. And so I don't understand how that helps us as a society to get healthy when we can't have, you know, honest conversations. And we've went in 1974, we had 7% obesity in America. Pre-COVID, it was 43.6, and I have a feeling post-COVID, it's got to be 50% because of how unhealthy people became during COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
And shocking, by the way, our politicians never told anyone to lose weight, which was about the best during COVID, which when you take a look at the demographic studies of who was passing away, it was typically the people who were encountering more lifestyle-related illness, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all of these things that are lifestyle decisions, and they never once did the leaders stand up and say lose weight, which I think is shocking.
Yeah, the gyms closed and the fast food restaurants stayed open. So
exactly.
Yeah,
and Amazon was able to ship, but the local hardware store was forced to close. You know,
yeah.
Very, very crazy.
We won't talk too much about that, or this video will be censored on YouTube. So
exactly, we can't talk about really what's going on in the world, unfortunately. No. Russell Brand, by the way, I don't know if you follow Russell Brand as a side note, but he has some really, you know, he was a progressive. And he is still progressive, but he even he swapped from YouTube because YouTube started banning his videos because he was right of what he talks about. You know, normally talking about statistics. So my next question